Section 2.3, Modeling with Linear Functions. In this section, we'll identify the steps for modeling and solving. We'll build linear models from verbal descriptions, and we'll build systems of linear models. So things to keep in mind when building a model: you have to read the problem carefully, more than once sometimes. Identify the quantities in the problem and define the variables to represent those quantities. Sometimes I think it's helpful to draw a picture or make a table or a graph. You have to make a plan, carry it out, and then reflect on it to see if your plan worked. And this is really important. Be perseverant. Your first plan may not work, but don't give up. Okay, so let's give a few a try. A college student plans to spend summer in Seattle. She has saved $3,500 for her trip and anticipates spending $400 each week for rent, food, and activities. Make a linear model for her financial situation. What would X represent? What would the X and Y intercepts represent? And what kinds of questions could we answer using this model? So let's think about this for a second, and sometimes I think a picture is helpful. So the starting point is that she has $3,500 in the bank, and she's moving to Seattle for the summer. And then what it sounds like is that she's just going to begin spending money. It doesn't give us any information on new money coming in, so I think she's going to start at $3,500 and then just begin spending, and it seems like it's going to be a consistent amount of spending. Okay, so what would X represent? X would represent the time. And our unit of time is weeks. So time in weeks. So here's our linear model. X is going to represent the time in weeks, and then Y represents the amount of money that she has in the bank. What would the X and Y intercepts represent in this situation? Well, this is the Y intercept. That's the Y amount when X is 0. So at time 0, when she starts, she has $3,500 in the bank. This is the X-intercept. The X-intercept would represent the time when the money runs out. And what kinds of questions could we answer using this model? Well, if we were to write the equation of that line, we could see at any time in weeks how much money she had left in the bank. And we could also figure out how long it would take for her to run out of money. If we were to write the linear function for this model, let's just say m of t, m for money. She started out with $3,500, and then every week her account goes down by $400. So this would be a linear model for that situation. Let's try another one. A bakery specialized in cupcakes. They have fixed costs of $25,000 for rent, insurance, and other expenses, and it costs 25 cents to produce each cupcake. Write a linear model to represent the financial situation of the bakery. Do the X and Y intercepts have meaning? And then write a question that could be answered using this model. Okay, so let's think about a picture of their situation. Their situation starts by having fixed costs of $25,000. So before they even sell or produce a cupcake, it costs them $25,000 just to be in business. And then those costs go up, and what makes the costs go up is how many cupcakes they produce. So X is going to represent the number of cupcakes produced by the bakery. And we could write the linear model. Let's just say, we'll just call it their cost function. So C of X, and X is going to represent the number of cupcakes. It costs them $25,000 in fixed costs, and to that we're going to add on 25 cents per cupcake. Do the X and Y intercepts have meaning? Well, let's take a look. Here's the X-intercept. Here's the Y-intercept. That's when X is 0, Y is 25,000. So the Y-intercept in this case represents the fixed cost. Notice that If we were to make the x-intercept of this linear function, it would be negative. And it's impossible for the x value to be negative because x represents the number of cupcakes. So in this case, the x-intercept does not have any meaning. Questions that we could answer using this model. Well, suppose we wanted to know when their costs reached a certain value, like when would their costs reach $30,000? We could figure that out. We could also answer questions like, how much will it cost to produce 1,000 cupcakes? So any question that involves cost or number of cupcakes is a question we could answer using this model.